Welcome to Open Studio on Brattleboro Community Television. My name is Chris Lenoir, and today I'm joined here by, well, let's start at the far end of the table, Star Latronica, the director of Brooks Memorial Library. Welcome.
Thank you. So nice to be here.
And in the middle, we have Lieutenant Colonel John Hagan. He is the Outreach for the Veterans Committee at the American Legion here in Brattleboro. Welcome.
Thanks, Chris.
And then right here is Shannon Prescott. She is the Vice Chair of the Board for United Way Windham County. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
And a really nice event we're here to talk about today with the Stone Soup Social, co-sponsored by all three of your organizations. This is taking place on Saturday, January 28th, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. in the American Legion Hall on Linden Street is when it's open to the public. John, you're the host of this, or your organization is the host of it, so why don't you set the scene for what's going to happen on the 28th?
Right. So the event is a information fair for the public. It is an opportunity for the public to come in and see what activities, organizations are available for them to participate in the Brattleboro area. And when we were setting this up, we purposely looked to have a very broad range of organizations. So we have service organizations, we have recreational organizations such as the Outing Club, we have social organizations such as the American Legion. And so here's an opportunity. It's a cold January evening. People tend to hunker down in their homes over the winter, and here's an opportunity to come out and see what there is to do and help you get through the winter.
All right. Is all the soup being made right there at the Legion?
Soup is being made at the Legion. The soup is free. I had a few questions on that, but we are providing the soup, and we're looking for the public to come in and kind of provide the energy and that warmth and camaraderie that comes on with people getting together on a cold winter evening.
Menu been finalized yet? Do we have a sense of what's going to be served?
I'm hearing it might be a squash soup, but the chef is still debating and still looking at that.
Yeah, well, I've eaten at the Legion before. It's always a good meal, so no doubt that the soup will be good
Guaranteed
as well.
to be good soup.
Does anybody need to RSVP? Do you want some people to RSVP, kind of let you know they're coming?
No, this is open, just anyone who is available on that evening and would like to come down. We have parking right outside the Legion Hall, so park your car, walk 25 feet inside the door, and come in and enjoy the event.
Yes, indeed. Lovely space there at the American Legion. Again, we're talking about this taking place on Saturday, January the 28th, a short walk from Brooks Memorial Library. Star.
Absolutely, yes.
Talk a little bit about your organization getting involved in this.
Well, we're so happy to partner with the Legion on doing this because really the library is about connecting people and resources. And one of the most valuable resources that we have in this community are our organizations and the people that run them. So this is a great opportunity for people to come out, get to know all the activities, all the services that are available, all the opportunities that are available in this community, and be a part of that, whether it's going to events sponsored by these organizations or even joining up with them. It's just a great way to make those social connections that are so important. You know, we know that actually it's a physical benefit to be involved with other human beings. And this is a great way to get to know your neighbors, get to know your community, and get involved with them.
Yeah. How many members of the library at this point do you think, as far as like your participation? I know that there's a lot of staff there. A lot of people going to be attending from the library?
I think that we will have a good showing of staff there, and we hope to see a whole lot of our clientele there.
Yeah.
And if I can just make a plug, we will be having a program about hiking in Italy just prior to this event. So you can come, you can just enjoy the sunny idea of hiking through Italy with former director Jerry Carboni, and then you can just walk right across the parking lot and enjoy this fantastic soup and get to know your neighbors.
Perfect, perfect. And you mentioned, I think, a magic word that we're talking about, connecting organizations in the community. And when I think of an organization that does that, I think of United Way of Windham County.
Exactly what we do.
That's exactly what you do there. So again, this had to be a really good opportunity for you all to kind of carry through with that mission.
Absolutely. You know, the United Way, our whole focus is, well, we work under an umbrella of HOPE, which is health, opportunity, prosperity, and education. And so John had reached out to our United Way office here in town and wanted to know, what can we do to better serve the veterans in our area, being that when they come home, they need support. And from that meeting came this idea of the Stone Soup Social, and what a great way to bring together all these organizations in our communities in one spot for everybody. So there's something there for everybody, whether you want to get your kids involved in something, or you're looking to serve on a board, or you want to volunteer. This is the place to be and enjoy some really good food.
And we'll keep plugging the soup for sure here. And so, United Way, American Legion, the library, probably can't list all the organizations that are participating, but can we mention a few that are going to be there?
In fact, what I wanted to point out also was, while one of our goals is to provide the public with these great opportunities to participate in events in Brattleboro, our second goal, equally important, was to help connect different groups together. We thought it would be very interesting to bring in a diverse set of groups and see what, as they meet with each other, what they could come up with. Wouldn't it be interesting if the Women's Freedom Center, which we'll be attending, met up with the Great Books Club? What could come out of that? What would happen if the Humane Society, who will be there, met up with the Outing Club? So we are hoping, and we are setting up time ahead of time to allow the groups to meet each other even before the public comes in. So from 4:30 to 5:30, we're calling it the setup. It's also a reception for the groups. And by the way, for the public, you are welcome to come in at 4:30 as well. You might be moving tables with us as well, but definitely welcome to attend a little early. But so both goals there. We have 35 groups signed up right now.
35?
Yeah, and it is a spread from the social organizations, which I'd consider the Legion, Veterans Service, and Social, to service organizations that work with the United Way, and then a lot of recreational organizations identified by the library for us. So a real communal effort on the parts of all three of our organizations.
Yeah. Well, and it's, I think about two of the people here at the table that I know before coming on here, John and Star, and I know you're both relative newcomers to the community, and Shannon, I don't know about yourself, but it strikes me that this is something that somebody coming from the outside would see and recognize that maybe people inside don't see it. We can all talk about silos and how we kind of, especially in the nonprofit world, I've worked in the nonprofit world before, you get sort of that tunnel vision, focusing on your day-to-day mission and the people you serve. You really need to have an event like this to kind of shake it up, the snow globe, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, you need people to come in and do it. Was this something, John, when you started coming in, started doing things at the Legion, you sort of said, this is something that I think we really could benefit from here?
Yeah, I'd like to hear what Star has to say on it too, but for me it was. So when we came in, and Chris, you and I have talked before about how veterans could better outreach into the community and how the community can reach back to veterans, one of the things that became obvious was that was a community event. It was a community effort, and it took connecting different groups together. So the American Legion, I like to think of it as geographically and also as a service organization. It's kind of in a center. It is in the downtown in Brattleboro, a very convenient space to work from. And also veterans issues are a concern across Brattleboro, I think, and across a range of activities in Brattleboro. So I thought it was a great connecting opportunity. But as we began to look at it, we realized it's really not just veterans. It's the community overall, us as the veterans serving the community, and the community reaching back and serving the veteran.
Yeah, I mean, Star, your thoughts on that as well. Certainly the library can be a gathering places for a diverse group of people in the community, but your thoughts when you first heard this idea?
Well, so as a librarian, absolutely, we're all about connecting. Yeah, librarians are connectors. I say we're matchmakers. We find the people the right book, the right organization, the right piece of information. So we're always pairing people up. We've always got one part of our brain thinking, okay, what's the best resource for this person? But as a newcomer to Brattleboro and somebody who loves this community, one of the first things that struck me was just this incredible dynamic commitment to community involvement. Everybody's involved in something. And, I don't meet anybody who isn't a member of some group. And so it's so wonderful to make those connections and tie people together and make those unlikely connections, like you were saying, and it is, in addition to being involved in community agencies, I've discovered also so many people write poetry here. This is the other thing I noticed. And so it just, is that sense of community engagement and involvement and wanting to make this whole community a better place for everybody. And that's what I discovered when we were working on a strategic plan for the library. We had many community conversations, and people would come together, and I'd say, what do you want for the community? And it wasn't about, I want this for me. It was what people wanted to make this community the very best it could be. And so this is a chance to come together to really pool our efforts and be stronger in that commitment and in that direction.
Okay. And Shannon, from United Way's perspective, obviously you're always looking for different ways to bring different organizations together. Did this strike you as when it was approached, your organization was approached by John, that this was a particularly unique idea?
That it is a unique idea. The fact that we have organizations like the Outing Club coming in, that's not typical of a nonprofit fair. Typically you have the service organizations, the people who are looking for the volunteers or want to get out their services. That's what a nonprofit fair is. So when I heard about this, I know on my end, I was just really excited to hear that we're bringing all these organizations together. And to be honest, as a young person in the community, it's a great way to get involved. So we have so much discord right now in a lot of different areas for a lot of different reasons. And I think that this new generation that's coming up, that's getting into the workforce, that's starting to get involved, they don't really know where to go. They don't know how to get involved. And I think an event like this is the place for them to go and find out how they can do that. So I really want to encourage a lot of the millennials out there that are looking for their space, looking to help, wanting to do something, to come and check this out.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you brought up that age group. It feels like a lot of times we have so many more ways to get information now, and that just seems to compartmentalize us more and more. Face-to-face is always the best way to kind of have these things happen. And have those interactions. And certainly with millennials, a lot of times they're looking at their screen, right?
They are always looking at their screens. And I think that, that can also give them, there's kind of a stigma against millennials right now, that they are always in their screens and they're not involved, and they have a lot of opinions, but they don't do a lot of things. And that's not true. I know as a millennial, I'm on the older end of the millennials, but I am one, that a lot of us are involved in a lot of things, but there are also just a large group out there that don't know how to get involved, or they have a passion for something, but they're not sure where to go with that. So I think that serving on a board or volunteering with an organization, whether it's an animal shelter or the library or the Legion, if you're concerned about Veterans Affairs, come get involved. Come make a difference, because change starts in your community.
Yeah, well said. And so let's set the scene for what's going to be happening there as far as the layout. John, you said 35 organizations. I'm envisioning that big room.
Right.
I'm envisioning, a lot of tables, a whole lot of commotion,
right.
A lot of bowls of soup.
We're hoping. That's what our anticipation. That I'm envisioning the exact same thing, is 35 tables of activities out there, and activities not just volunteering, but activities, but also membership activities. I mean, part of this also is an opportunity for Brattleborians to get out and participate in actual activities. So we purposely reached out to folks like the Brattleboro section of the Green Mountain Club. To see if they'd like to participate and let people know about the activities they're doing. The Outing Club has been brought up as well, the Great Books Club at the library, the Brattleboro Floral Arts and Garden Club will be there. So it should be a diverse group. How we're going to set that room up, I'm kind of
a work in progress.
I'm very excited to see how that's going to work. But it will be set in such a way that people can enjoy the food, enjoy the company, and get a lot of good information and have a really enjoyable evening as well.
How about, will there be a time for each organization to kind of give a little elevator speech about who they are, what they do? You trying to keep it as organic as possible?
We're keeping it organic. We will actually, Peter Elwell, our town manager, will be in to say a few words during the evening. We do have some door prizes being raffled off by our respective organizations. But for the most part, it's going to be a matter of individuals walking from table to table and shaking hands and meeting people eye to eye, as Shannon had brought up, or face to face.
Yeah, conversations.
Conversations.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do either of you want to tease one of the door prizes here? I'm looking at the library director over there.
I've been looking at the library director also.
I know. We are going to have an awesome raffle prize, but it's under wraps. You have to come to see it.
Secret, huh?
It is, but it's really good. It's
Yeah.
really cool. Yeah.
Are you going to be as secretive as Star over
I
there?
honestly don't know what our door prize is. I know there is one, but I don't know what it is.
That's plausible deniability. Star is now being, but yeah, door prizes when you come, and as John mentioned, the soup is free. 35 different organizations, chance to really have these conversations. I like those three categories you've kind of put in here when you talk about social, service, and recreational, and I think about your organization in particular first as kind of two of those, right? I think of social and service for you. Do you make that distinction?
Oh, absolutely. I think when I look actually at the Legion, I look at social service, and I also look at professional as well. Of how do we, as veterans, help continue to develop ourselves, or help individuals we serve develop them. So that would actually be the service part. But definitely the social part is very important. It's very much a component of almost any organization you join. And service, as I've said before, it's not just the service of the veteran out to the community, but it's also inviting the community service back to us. I did want to point out and you had brought up, I guess, before we started, the Stone Soup Social concept of where that
We were going to
came
get
from.
into the origins of Stone Soup Social.
Yeah.
Or Stone Soup.
Yeah,
It's
Stone
not rocks.
Soup, right? So it's not. There's some people might not have heard the story, but it is a folk story about an individual walking into a village with a stone, and claiming that he can make a wonderful soup with the stone, and he manages to convince someone to lend him a pot and some water and help him light a fire, and then through encouragement of the individuals of the village, other people bring in different ingredients and add into it, and in the end there's this wonderful soup with apparently a stone still sitting in the bottom of it, but a wonderful soup nonetheless. We thought, and I'll give a shout out to Tom Costello, who when we were thinking about what this event was going to be, he brought up that term, Stone Soup Social, and that clicked immediately. We said, that's exactly what we're doing. We are bringing in the community all different types of people and different organizations, and to make this wonderful metaphorical soup.
Yeah. Leave it to a former Sunday school teacher to do that. He was
Set
my
up well.
Sunday school teacher growing up here, so I always sit up straighter when Tom's in the room, indeed. Great story. He did pretty well with that story, right,
Yes,
Star?
he did. He did. But yes, everything is better when everybody contributes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And since the Legion is the locus of this event, I wanted to ask each of you on each side of John to talk a little about working with veterans in the community here. I mean, we have a lot of veterans who've served in a lot of different combat operations, both historically as well as contemporarily here in our community. At the library, Star.
Yes, we have wonderful services for everybody in the community, but that would be especially appropriate for veterans, especially if they're returning and looking for job help, help with writing a resume or updating their resume. We do have a job helper on site at specific times during the week, and so we can help with that. We also have, of course, a ton of books on learning new skills or developing skills. And then we also have some fabulous databases now where you can take online classes, whether they're office kinds of skills like Excel or computer skills. We have some that you can do model interviews for getting a job. So that's all as part of workforce development. But then we also have great opportunities for veterans to volunteer to work with us at the library. And we also have just those basic books that will help you build other interpersonal skills, whether you want to learn a new hobby or write a book, write your memoir. We have all those resources for you.
Yeah. When you think of that, the three organizations here, social, service, recreational, I think you can lay claim to kind of spanning all three of those as well.
Absolutely.
And of course, United Way, you probably fill in some gaps there in all those areas.
We do, and so United Way, I mean, that's really what we do. Like I said, we operate under an umbrella, and we try to connect people to the resources they need. So we work with all the social and service organizations in the community and help connect people to the proper, let me re-say that, help connect people to the right organization to suit their needs. We also have a great tool called 211. You dial it on your phone, 211, anywhere in Vermont, and they will connect you directly to the service provider for your needs. So if you need food stamps, they're going to direct you to where to find food stamps. If you are facing homelessness, they're going to direct you to a shelter. If you need clothes for your kids, they're going to tell you where the closet is. So that's a wonderful resource that not a lot of people know about, but it is funded by the United Way. And specifically to veterans, while United Way has always worked on hunger issues and homelessness issues, specifically working to address those issues with veterans is going to be a new venture for us, but that's what we do. We find out that there's a need in the community and we work to close that gap. So we are really, really thankful for John for reaching out and letting us know that, you know, we need to do a little bit more. So because we don't know if you guys don't come tell us what's going on.
Right.
And we have our fingers on the pulse of the community. We really are at just about every meeting trying to figure out what's going on and what can we do to help that. Anywhere from, you know, our Kids and Codes Fund, where we're supplying winter clothes, but I was really excited to hear that we're going to really start focusing on helping the veterans as they're coming back in to the communities and getting them on their feet and making sure that they start off right and they continue that way.
Yeah. Do you see this as something that you can take, and I don't mean just you, but the three of you obviously all co-sponsoring this, but taking something like this and maybe not replicating it exactly, but something that happens more than just this one time?
Oh yeah, I would definitely see that. It seems like it's taking off already.
Yeah, right. You have 35 people in there. Did you expect that kind of response first time around?
You know, I was really kind of surprised. The Heifer Stroll folks run some really good nonprofit fairs. There was one just on the past first Friday of January. So we were aware that the nonprofits would have fairs and people could attend that, but we thought it would be interesting to expand that out and see what groups would be interested. And we're really surprised at the number of groups that got back to us and said, yes, we're definitely on board, very excited to be there. Our request to each group, as a matter of fact, is that they send multiple people, and that's to help ensure that networking. So as one person is working the table, hopefully others are out working the floor. And so hopefully it is a very large communal conversation going on.
Yeah, well, 2 hours or 3 hours if you include the networking for
That
the
is true.
organizations. That goes by in a hurry when you have
does.
that many conversations going on at once.
It does.
Yeah.
And I would also like to speak about, since you had asked what the other two organizations do to serve veterans.
Yeah.
We have a veteran service officer, and the Legion, like the Veterans of Foreign Wars, like the AMVETS, American Veterans Associations, we provide services to veterans. We also provide guidance to veterans and working with the Veterans Administration as well. So in our Legion post, we have an individual, if a veteran has come back and he doesn't know how to connect with the VA, if he's uncertain of what his benefits are, we can provide him that information.
Yeah. Do you think that's something, I mean, you kind of, when I asked you about that blend of social and service, I actually think of American Legion first as a service organization and social second, but you know, the fact that you want to emphasize that makes me think that maybe I'm in the minority there.
I think sometimes people will have a perception of what the veteran service organizations are or what they do, and I think that they do an awful lot, and sometimes we need to remind people of the expanse of activities that are out there. Our American Legion sponsors Little League Baseball. It sponsors a high school baseball team. It is the charter for the local Boy Scout troop. And it participates in events such as this. So we really are connected into the community, and I think that's very important to realize that veterans are part of the community. It is not the community and veterans. It is a community of individuals, including veterans within it.
Yeah, well, I think the space certainly has always, to me, felt like a community space, above and beyond just serving the veterans. The Legion Hall right there on Linden Street, where this is taking place on Saturday, January the 28th at 4:30 p.m. is when the organizations arrive. Public, free, open to the public at 5:30 p.m. Let's think a little bit here about the end of the evening. You're picking up the tables, you're stacking up the soup bowls and all that kind of thing, and you're reflecting back on this. What are going to be some markers for each of you that is going to say this worked the way we wanted it to work? When you think about, obviously, not like not quantitative metrics, but some of those things that you're going to say, I'm going to feel good that this came about. Why don't we start at the end of the table with you, Star?
Well, I always feel good when I come away with a handful of business cards of people, of organizations that want to partner with the library to do programs or publicize their events. And I'm always so happy when I talk to people about what the library does and that light bulb goes on and they go, really? The library does that? The library has a free meeting room where my group could meet, or the library has those online resources that I can use. So those are the moments I look forward to, is making that connection with somebody that opens up a whole new world for them from the library.
Yeah. John?
Me, I'm just really excited about the idea of bringing together very different groups and seeing what creative combinations can come out of that. So I'm going to be looking to hear those stories by the end of the evening of two groups that have never worked together before that come up with some innovative collaboration that benefits both of them.
Yeah, that would be really exciting.
So that is, to me, that'll be success if I hear of those.
Yeah. Shannon?
I would echo John. I think that would be United Way's best outcome as well, because again, that's what we do, and it is important for these organizations to talk to each other because they can utilize each other, and they're often serving the same population and not realizing it. So I think that those connections that are going to be made that night will be the biggest success, and hopefully community members coming in and making connections on their own as well. That would be the best outcome if everybody gets to make some sort of connection. You walk away with at least one good conversation that you can remember in your head, or I know for United Way, for us, it's always nice to be at these things and hear from the public somebody that we've helped. Maybe somebody that has benefited from one of the organizations that we support in the past, or somebody that's just benefited from United Way in general. So it's going to be exciting. I can't wait.
Yeah, and when you say, you're talking a little about like two organizations discovering they serve the same population, kind of coming at it from different angles, and maybe there's a little overlap but a little divergence. I mean, I can think of a few different examples of that in the community.
Yeah, and then there's our partnerships that come out of that between organizations as well. You look at Morningside Shelter and the Drop-In Center merging together to create Groundworks, and that has been amazing for both organizations, and they're a better, stronger organization now. So I hope that some of those connections are made at this event as well.
Yes, indeed. All right, and we're talking about the Stone Soup. I knew I was going to mess it up one of these times. We're talking about the Stone Soup Social, co-sponsored by the American Legion, Brooks Memorial Library, United Way of Windham County. It's a free, open to the public event. 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. on Saturday, January the 28th. The soup is free, the admission is free, the parking is free. There are raffles that are going to be available, and so it's going to, or door prizes, excuse me, that are going to be available there. What are we missing there? I want to make sure we don't leave anything out.
I just want to point out that the time is kind of a very nice time. So if you're headed out for the evening in Brattleboro on a Saturday evening, come by and visit us on your way out the door, or on your way out into the public. Stop by and see us before dinner and have our soup as an appetizer. Yeah. It is an event that's open for 2 hours. It is not an event that you have to stay at for 2 hours. We ask you just to come in. We will provide you a list at the door of all 35 organizations that will be participating, and you can go through it and look at the ones you're interested in, and then maybe browse a few that you hadn't thought about before. And talk to them as well.
Yeah. Is there a place where people can go right now, get any additional information?
Actually, if you go to the American Legion Facebook page, we have the event posted there, but it is also posted on the iBrattleboro and iPutney calendars, and it is posted on the Chamber of Commerce events calendar. I believe it's on the library calendar. And it's on the United Way calendar, so it's pretty much on every calendar if you're online.
If you're checking calendars.
Yeah.
And the American Legion here in Brattleboro is Post 5.
Post 5, that's
At Brattleboro Post 5.
Yep.
John Hagan, Starlatronica, Shannon Prescott, thanks all so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Good to have you all, and thank you for joining us here on Open Studio. Want to remind everybody that another place you can find this information again is by watching this program again online. It is at BrattleboroTV.org. Thank you.